Hello, everyone. This is the Geo Scheduling Call, this time on a Friday afternoon, which means that Rachel and I will be so on top of everything. Absolutely, it's exactly the same as Monday mornings, right? Fresh from the weekend. So we are especially excited for an hour of scheduling.
It's not going to be an hour of scheduling. It's going to be 20 minutes of scheduling.
It'll be very time efficient.
Let's see. Right, yeah. I'm going to share my screen. Let's go.
Could do like a top-down. The board looks colorful. We're done.
And end.
Yeah. Do you know if Douglas is joining?
I'm not sure if Douglas is joining. I'm expecting that they'll be part of them from next week because I think this one was still unsure. I think he's also still getting out of underneath Catch-Up Mountain from being away during the week.
Yeah, and as we all know, Catch-Up Mountain is the best mountain.
Right, I'm sharing my screen. I hope you can see it.
Yep.
Let us begin. Create events for package files is merged. Woohoo!
I think that was mainly a documentation change.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't mainly. There's still this one, the checksum package on primary, but that's the primary.
Yeah.
This is the create events. I think this was linked to a separate issue, to be honest. Oh, right. This is mainly the doc stuff. Okay, well, it's in there. I'm also really enjoying the new board pull look thing on the labels. That made total sense. I'm enjoying the way the new labels look.
I would not necessarily say I enjoy them.
Oh, it bounces back. Oh, that's a bug.
Oh, that is bug.
Okay.
I find them very difficult to read, especially the light green on white.
Yeah.
It's like from a UX perspective, I'm a little bit, I know there are some bugs and whatnot. Why?
Actually, here it's different as well. It's like that there, and it's like that there.
Everything. Can you make a screenshot? I think they need
of this.
Yeah, just to see like this is completely inconsistent.
I'll just do that like that. Okay, let's continue. Improve the reference counter. This was the one that Gabrielle found on production after looking into the migration stuff. That has been raised and sorted out. Off the back of this,
Great.
No, actually, that's a completely separate thing, so we can discuss it separately. So I'll take these off. It's done. Okay. Investigate orphaned registries. Oh, right. This is the one where Douglas was going in and deleting some of them in pieces because when we switched to selective sync, a bunch of stuff was orphaned, but we didn't have a really good cleanup tool. And I think that there needs to be a follow-up issue raised for this to have a better way of cleaning up stuff. Although I'm not sure if when they're changing the queries from the old way to the new way, if that's going to help. But
I don't know. But it's good that it's gone.
It's good that it's done. Also there, that's interesting.
That's also bugged.
Actually, I'm going to just do that like this.
I think my main quibble is that I generally prefer text to be either black or white,
Oh, and here it's a mix of the two.
And here it's a mix of the two. And depending on the color that it is mirroring, right, the contrast ratio is like vastly different.
Also, it's black here and it's white there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, in the British sense. Right?
Yeah. Okay. And suddenly the scheduling call turns into labels.
Okay. But it makes you realize like how much you're used to seeing those things.
Yes. Right? And as soon as there's a visual change, how much it actually affects you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This one, I closed this one out because the discussion was fragmenting. So yes. I've closed this one out to try and consolidate the discussion into only one place.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It was getting confusing enough as it was, so. closed. Next one, generic confirm model. Oh, sure, it's a Friday afternoon. Generic confirm model.
Yeah, I think that's great because if I remember correctly, this is a general change to provide this type of modal, which is great to see.
Yeah, it is a good. It's nice that he's finding things like that can be generic. Hooray! Okay, this one about the avatars. I saw that there was a comment on it, but I have not read it yet. So what was the latest here? We're seeing the replication failures in staging. It might be the case we need to run rake tasks to clean the uploads, but this is today, so I think I'm just going to leave this in verification while that is figured out. Okay, blocked. Valeri took a look over the blocking MR and didn't find anything in it, so we're just waiting for that MR to be merged and then we can continue here.
I'm not so worried right now because 12.9 is a long time off, but I also, I'll leave it sit for a couple of days. I think my main worry is it has had to be reverted once because of issues when it was rolled out to production. And, I think it's really important that this time around, we're actually able to ship this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sure I've seen that before, but I've only noticed it now. Okay. That's that.
Yeah.
Sorry, it sparked a thought. You do know that the cutoff is earlier for 12.9 because of contribute. I'm pretty sure I put that on the channel.
I've not thought like I'm.
It's not by that many days, so
yeah,
don't
but
worry.
it's 2 days early. But I think I wrote in that issue saying like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, That is what I remember. Right?
Okay, adding the service to check the package files on the primary. It's work in progress. I will leave that alone.
Yeah.
Perform a planned failover. You and I have both been on a discussion on this one today about the fact that 10K might have been a bit of a challenge to do, so we'll trim that back. So hopefully between Jenny and Ash, that can get taken care of next week.
I think that would be great. And like, I feel a bit bad because I didn't mean to suggest it must be done in this way, but it has to be done eventually, right? Even though like I didn't want to block any iteration.
Yeah.
And, looking at this a little bit more closely, it feels like a lot of time was spent on enabling this one ask, even though
well, in a sense, that work was going to come at some point, and what this has shown us is it's just highlighted the fact again that doing failovers or doing stuff geo-related on very big installations is hard, and we can do it on a simple one to unblock this issue so that we can get the information we need to inform that epic. But in general, doing stuff on 10K is hard. We're going to have to address it at some point.
I think actually this is like maybe a good outcome. Like if it is hard now, it's going to be hard for customers. And also if it ends up, you have 5 Rails nodes and you need to repeat commands 5 times, it's going to become very tedious. I think
very fast. Yeah.
Very fast. And it may actually highlight the need for a better solution to propagate things like this throughout a cluster, which whatever solution for that is relevant. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, implementing the monitoring on staging. Tone has gone through and updated the description well. Now that Douglas is back, he's going to review it as well and just confirm what he thinks we should do next. I'll also add my thoughts here, just that we need to just put in what we need to know if it's healthy or not. We don't need to make it do everything, but I'll comment on that issue.
Yeah, I think it's also like the one thought that I have is I would say it's probably good enough if we just like enable what we have, right? And then highlight the things that we still need to do, right? But I think, for example, if we don't have information for design repositories or something like this, that is actually valuable information to highlight that we should have this, right? But I'm really quite keen to like close out the staging
epic
bit,
yeah,
right? And so minimal but sufficient is sort of what I have in mind here.
Yeah, so I'll add a comment to this, just saying something along those lines. But I'm in agreement. We need to put monitoring that is enough for us to know if there's a problem. But the actual in-depth stuff, I think we can do separately.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a great description, and so thank you for writing it.
And I think that we can, whatever we'll end up doing about this issue, all of those pieces need to either land up as their own separate issues as a part of a separate epic, but
correct.
It's nice to have all of that detail there. Yes. Verifying the installation with Postgres. I saw that Tone had done some testing and was now doing another clean, setting up a new cluster to do the tests again clean. So that's nice that there's progress being made there. Improving the logging of sync services. I think Ash has been focusing on the other one and not on this one. He's been focusing
I must admit I've lost track a little bit as to what needs to happen there and why it is so much work. Or like, let's say, why it's been hanging around for so long.
Yeah, I think with this, yeah, I'm also not certain why this has turned into what it is.
Is there any activity here as well? Like, is it just that Ash didn't get to it, or is it just a lot of work that we're not seeing?
I think it's just that he's either the changes are on his local or he hasn't gotten to it yet. Oh, there's a related branch there, but it's not an MR yet. Yes, this is the extra pieces here. Oh, there's nothing to compare.
Because I think if this is not something that is actually being worked on right now, because there are other things happening, then it's not in development, which is fine, but then we should just move it back to ready for development.
So it seems like there's two pieces to this, and the one piece is done and the one piece is not done. So I agree with you that if it's not actually in development, we should move it back to ready.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to do that right now. There hasn't. Oh, that's working again. That's nice. Okay, I'm going to move it back to ready for development. Yeah. Okay, done.
Yeah,
It's Friday. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Like I'm just like in my head I'm thinking, it's like, how does that even work? Why are these old styles still around? Interesting.
Okay, this is the selective sync clone.
Yes.
Yes. And I have forgotten to put the deliverable back on here.
Yeah, it is a deliverable. The deliverable.
Oh, yeah. And there's an MR up for that, which I think was in its last phases now. So
yeah, I think it's also out of work in progress now. So I think there's some Q&A concerns and whatnot, but I think that's getting along nicely, which is fantastic.
Okay, rewriting this form in Vue. Yeah, it's moving along. There's been quite a few MRs for this, but it's getting there.
That's good.
Consuming the create events for the package files. He's only picked this up 2 days ago, so I'm expecting that there's still going to be work here. Okay, and the bots removed that. That's good. Okay, implement this file download. Yes, so Gabriel had done a piece of this, and he was going to continue working on this now that he's back from vacation.
Cool.
He had picked that up quite recently. Okay, switching the default alert to be the modal. Yeah, I think this is still active and in progress. Yeah, okay, merge request is there. This is the piece. Douglas was taking the work that Mike had done previously about making the registry tables a single source of truth, and he's doing the same thing for job artifacts and uploads so that we will unblock staging, just make that more efficient on staging. And the last one is a bug about the file download dispatch worker aggressively doing stuff.
Correct.
So that's nice to see that that is moving on.
I think Valeri has actually, I think, already produced a fix of some sort, and I think is working on it.
Okay. Nice. I hadn't seen that. Okay. Cool. Okay. That concludes the in development set.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I can share.
To you. Let me just stop my share.
Don't
All yours.
There is very much for me to do. Let me just close some confidential bits and pieces. Sorry, it takes me a while because I come prepared.
That's okay.
Okay, there we are.
Okay, I can see that.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so
before we finish, we do this. When is the next one of these meetings going to be for how much we need to put in this column? Is the next one, must I do the next one next Friday by myself, or are we going to do the next one the following Tuesday?
I think we should just do the next one the following Tuesday after that.
Okay, well then let's pull in enough to make that happen.
I think that will not be a problem. Make registry table the single source of truth for LFS objects available by default. I think that should be at the top because we have all of that done. It just requires testing.
Yes, and that needs to stay at the top.
Yes.
Yeah, fine.
I think, yeah, I think we should just do this. I have the release post item. You know, it would be really great to test it out on staging, right? And also with the effort going on here, right?
Yeah.
If we test this, right, and are confident, and then we can test these bits here.
Yeah, it all goes together.
It all plays together, and I also think that would actually then allow us to remove the foreign data wrapper, which would
be awesome.
Which would be really cool, and so happy about that.
For the second one, I thought that was a deliverable.
It is a deliverable.
And because I noticed the deliverable label's also gone on the one in the in development column as well.
Why is the bot removing in deliverable? Like the deliverable?
Down 3. Up 1. Yes. Or was this me? Did I do this?
No.
No, it did it. Oh, naughty bot.
Quality team, I am coming. Like something is clearly like.
That's. Because it did it twice. Fabian versus bot. Who will win? My money is on Fabian.
Yeah, I think I'll post that in the product channel. It is just like, and this is why we miss deliverables.
The communication between engineering and product is failing because of the bot.
Yeah. It's quite funny, right? Especially the sequence is like.
Please do it again and see what happens.
GitLab bot remove deliverable. Fabian adds deliverable. Bot removes deliverable, adds milestone, and puts in this deliverable. Just like.
Oh, I like that very much. We also have to put that in the Geo chat channel. Did you get the whole thing?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, this here is the.
And those ones are in the old style.
Yes.
Oh, no, they're not because they're different.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is not scoped, but it's like.
Yeah. Okay. And it's the same thing here.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, GitLab bot.
I think like there must be logic in here that if something is assigned the deliverable label and it hasn't been merged or hasn't been closed, it then removes it, applies the next milestone, and applies this one. But that's clearly wrong, right? There must be a bug.
Well, this is also, yeah, I think that's a bug because you would want the deliverables to roll, but
Yes.
there must be logic somewhere about that. I mean, there must be a why somewhere on the merge request for that. So I'm sure you will find it.
I am going to find it, but I think it is quite funny. It's like, darn you. Okay. So they are like what I need to make a note actually.
To find all the deliverables.
We add fight the bot on Monday to add deliverables.
So where were we?
Yes, 20 minutes are here, right? Yeah, this is still important. This is actually really important because of the timeline associated with the Postgres 11 release. So I think my main concern here is if this is something that can be parallelized, if Tone has too much on his plate, we can fan this out, but for now, I'm just going to leave it here.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about this one. I'm just going to leave it in here. I'm not quite sure how important it is.
Hey, Gabriel, you missed Fabian versus bot. You'll have to rewind on the recording.
Yes.
Yeah, so you'll leave that one there.
Okay. Yeah, replicating the creation of new package files, that's also definitely good because I believe this is one of the few outstanding items for the first package file implementation.
Yeah.
Should we do this here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's all fine. No. Okay. Then this here is the next item for the verification piece, which I think we discussed last time. This is actually something that we can potentially like add a few more items into the scheduling column, because at the moment, if GitLab loads, Valerie is working on this. This is the next piece. We could, for example, schedule these two items here as well as the next items.
I think let's put those in. The further we can get with the package files, the better.
So that's track and add service, both of which should be in here. I'm going to add this in. Yes, okay. So I will, 1 second. So that should be on the board now.
Where is it?
Ensure track.
It was add.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. It's all the way at the top.
Okay.
Okay. So should that logging of sync services come down a bit then?
Yeah, I mean, I think that can go to the bottom, similar to these two here.
Okay.
That's fine. Like this one here is quite important. That's the follow-up to what Ash is working on here. So I'd like to see this finished as soon as possible so that we can actually ship it.
Yep.
And I believe this here is the next deliverable for 12.9, which is the pause resume bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm inclined to not move it in yet because we already have like 17 wait here for a week and we have 18 in flight. But sort of as a backup, if magically all of those things happen, you know,
I'll
then
go into that column. Yeah.
we'll go into that column. And I think these here are sort of small-ish things that can be done.
What is that one right at the bottom? Ah, okay.
Oh yeah, moving it forward so we can discuss in the scheduling call.
Maybe you just scheduled that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's good enough, honestly.
Yeah, that's plenty.
That's plenty. Okay. So I feel I'll stop sharing, but I think we're in good state here. One thing that I would like to discuss with Sinjung when she's back next week is just as a little bit of color. Regarding the self-service framework, I think we are very close to, if I just go in here, to have the first implementation of package file replication done from a backend perspective. Like these three things here, I anticipate closing relatively soon. And so the decision here is that's not shippable. I mean, it is shippable, but the front end is still missing, right? And so in design repositories, what we've done is we've sort of bolted on the design repositories as an additional page where, you know, that's fine. We can do exactly the same thing again for package files, but given that we are working on the like GraphQL API, hopefully at some point, that also opens an opportunity here to actually like work with Sinjung to sort of redefine how the front end should look for the detailed views for, you know, like all of those classes. And Zach brought that up, and I just need to discuss with Sinjung, like if we are confident enough to make that call, because then, you know, we can actually do that, I think, sort of next. That's fine.
Yeah, and I think that because this is the start of the new way of doing things, there needs to be something. I think it does need to be different on the front end. I mean, even from a user's perspective, they don't know that that under the hood is different.
Yes.
But for us, we at least need to be doing this in whatever the new way is going to be.
I agree.
Even if it looks like the old way from a visual perspective, underneath needs to be the new way.
Yes, I agree. And I think, but then there's a missing piece here, right? I need to discuss with Sinjung, and I also need to discuss with Zach beginning of next week. It's like what still is missing in order to actually do this, right? And but I also think that package files should be sort of the beginning of the new way of doing things, and so I'm willing to do it right.
Yeah, and I think it's worth starting to raise that, because it would be wonderful if we can also include that in the presentation that contributes.
Correct. I agree. But that depends a little bit, right? I need to chat with her. Yeah. I think in general, like from the interviews that we've seen, the systems administrators that use this screen, right, they like not having sort of an interface to like resync a file is clearly a problem, right? So having the same functionality across all data types where it makes sense, right, to like retry, resync, you know, like see that information, that's really, I think, quite important. Having them in different individual views makes, I think, very little sense. I think having a filter to say like, I go to sort of the details page, right, or whatever you want to call it, and so like, I'm interested in looking at like everything, or at like repositories or whatever it is, right, and allowing them to see the things that are wrong first is also, I think, the way to go here. What I can tell is like people are generally not very interested in like seeing that the 3,568 repositories are all fine, right? They're interested in the 15 that for whatever reason actually are not. But that's just a side note. That's something for me to follow up. But yeah, I think that's it.
Alrighty.
No.
Cool. If that concludes this, I'm going to stop the recording, but can you hang around on the call?
Sure.
I want to talk about the dashboard.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. I'm going to stop.